Welcome, everyone. Today, you're not just watching a video. You're entering a classroom that no one taught you in school, a place where we fix something that quietly controls every part of your life, your communication. Because in life, the way you speak decides how far you go. You can have talent, intelligence, and hard work. But if you don't know how to express, influence, and connect with people, you'll always feel invisible. You've probably experienced it. You say something and no one listens. You have an idea, but someone else gets the credit. You enter a room and feel small, quiet, awkward. You avoid meetings, parties, or job interviews because you're not sure how to talk. And when you do speak, you either freeze, talk too fast, say the wrong thing, or feel like no one cares. You're not alone. Communication is not just about talking, it's about knowing how to say something in a way that makes people stop, listen, and remember. It's about learning the advanced techniques that the most confident, powerful, and influential people use, even if they never told you how. That's what today is all about. You're going to learn 12 advanced communication techniques, not the common tips like make eye contact or speak clearly. No, you're going to learn how to control conversations, build instant trust, influence people, sound smarter, and be remembered. And even better, each technique is explained in simple English so you can practice speaking smarter while you also learn powerful life skills. This video is your speaking class, your confidence coach, and your social advantage all in one. So stay till the end. This might be the video that changes how people see you, how you feel about your voice, and how far you go in life. Let's begin. Technique 1. You communication. Most people talk about themselves. Smart communicators talk about you. Let me show you something powerful. Imagine two people trying to say the same thing. Person A says, I've created a great product and I think it's really smart and helpful. Person B says, you're going to love this. It saves you time, gives you peace of mind, and makes your work easier. Same message, but one is about me and the other is about you. Which one feels more attractive, more personal, more relevant? Obviously, the second one. That's the power of you communication. The moment you shift your focus from I to you, your words become magnetic. Psychologically, we are all self-focused creatures. Our brains are wired to notice things that relate to us. So, when someone talks in a way that reflects our needs, desires, fears, and emotions, we automatically pay more attention. Most people say, I want to tell you something. I've been thinking about this. I think this will work. But the person listening doesn't care what you think until you show them how it matters to them. Advanced communicators flip the script. They say, you're going to want to hear this. This might save you from a mistake. This could make your life easier. They always start from the listener's world, not their own. Imagine you're applying for a job. An average candidate says in the interview, I've worked in digital marketing for 4 years. I know how to run ads, write copy, and manage campaigns. Sounds okay, but it's all about me. Now, here's a better way using you communication. With your company's focus on customer engagement, I can help you grow your brand by creating ad campaigns that speak directly to your audience's emotions and drive more people to your platform. Same person, same experience, but one talks about the company, the other talks about themselves. Which one gets remembered? The one that speaks about you. This technique is not just for interviews. You can use it anytime you speak. In texting or messaging, instead of I'm free to meet, Say, you can pick any time that's easy for you. In giving advice, instead of, I think you should exercise more, say, you might feel more energetic if you move a bit each day. In business or presentations, instead of, we built this product with great features, say, you'll find this tool helps you save hours every week. In relationships, instead of, I'm hurt because you didn't call me, say, you might not realize it, but your silence made me feel unwanted. This is not manipulation. This is communication with awareness where you understand that your message is only powerful when the other person feels connected to it. How to master this technique. Record yourself speaking for 1 to 2 minutes about a topic you love. Listen to how many times you said I, me, or my. Now, repeat it. But this time, shift the focus to the listener. Say you, your, or you'll feel instead. Do this every day for 1 week. Your brain will naturally start changing how you speak. People will feel like, this person gets me. This person is thoughtful. This person knows how to speak. You won't just sound better, you'll become someone people like, trust, and want to hear more from. Because in a world full of I, the person who speaks about you becomes unforgettable. The parroting technique. There is one thing people secretly want more than love, more than success, even more than money, and that is to be heard. Most people don't listen. They wait for their turn to speak. They interrupt. They finish your sentences. They offer advice too quickly. They change the subject. But when you become the one person who truly listens, not just with your ears, but with your attention, people will open up to you like a book. And here's the simplest, smartest technique to do that. It's called parroting. It's when you repeat the last 1 to 3 words the other person just said in a curious, interested tone. You don't change their words. You don't add your opinion. You simply mirror them like a parrot. It sounds too simple, but it works like magic. Imagine this. Someone says, I just feel exhausted after work these days. And you respond with, exhausted after work? Now watch what happens. They reply, yeah, it's like I don't even get time to relax. By the time I'm done, I'm already thinking about the next day. You say, already thinking about the next day? They go on, exactly. It's this never-ending loop, no space to breathe. You didn't give advice. You didn't talk about your day. You didn't say, I understand, or that's tough. You just parroted their last words, and yet they opened up more, went deeper, and trusted you. Because here's the secret. When you repeat someone's words, it shows them you're truly listening. It makes them feel important, and it gently encourages them to go deeper into their own thoughts. The human brain is designed to seek understanding. When someone hears their own words back, it creates a sense of safety. It tells their subconscious, this person is not judging. They're here with me. It also gives them space to expand their thoughts. And when people open up more, they connect more. This is how great therapists work. This is how top negotiators handle conflict. This is how emotionally intelligent people build relationships. And now, this can be your skill too. In relationships, your partner says, I feel like you don't listen to me. You say, don't listen to you? Watch how they start explaining more and feel safer doing so. In friendships, friend says, I'm just tired of pretending everything's okay. You say, pretending everything's okay? They feel invited to tell the truth, and you become their real friend. In business or sales, client says, I'm worried about the cost. You say, worried about the cost? They explain their concern, and now you can respond with real understanding. In job interviews, interviewer says, we're looking for someone who works well under pressure. You say, works well under pressure? Now they'll tell you exactly what that means, and you can shape your answer better. Tips: don't sound robotic. Make it natural, like you're curious. Use your tone. Say it like a question, not like a copy machine. Don't overuse. Use it when the person seems emotional or thoughtful. Don't repeat everything. Pair it with eye contact and silence. Let the person fill the space. Don't jump in too quickly. How to practice. Watch a podcast or a conversation scene from a movie. Pause after every sentence and repeat the last 3 words out loud. Listen to how it sounds. Adjust your tone to be gentle, warm, and curious. Try it in real life, especially when someone is sharing a feeling or concern. Most people think you need to talk more to connect, but actually, you need to listen smarter. Parroting is your way to listen actively, deeply, and powerfully without long speeches or fake nods. The more someone talks to you, the more they trust you. And trust is the first step to influence. If you master this one simple technique, people will start saying, I don't know why, but I feel like I can talk to you about anything. And that's when you know your communication is now a superpower. The story hook technique. Let me ask you a question. When you think about the most powerful speeches you've heard, do you remember the facts they gave, or do you remember the stories they told? It's always the stories. Because the human brain is not designed to remember data, it's designed to feel. That's why great communicators don't start with numbers, they start with a story. They don't say, studies show that 68% of people fail in their goals. They say, last year, my best friend gave up on his dream of becoming a writer not because he wasn't good enough, but because no one believed in him, not even himself. And now you're listening not to a fact, but to a feeling. That's the power of a story hook. What is a story hook? It's a short, emotional, real, or imagined story that grabs attention at the start of your sentence and then leads into your message. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be real, human, and relatable. The goal is simple. Make them feel before you make them think. Business pitch bad. Our product improves efficiency by 37%. Business pitch good. A few months ago, a client told me he missed his daughter's school play because he was stuck fixing reports. We created this tool so that never happens again. Motivational talk bad. Success takes discipline and focus. Motivational talk good. When I was 22, I used to lie in bed until noon, scrolling on my phone and hating my life. I changed everything, and it started with one promise. English learning bad. Vocabulary is important for fluency. English learning good. Last week, someone told me they stopped a job interview halfway because they didn't know the English word for responsibility. That's why vocabulary is not optional. Do you see the difference? One gives you information, the other gives you connection. Stories activate multiple parts of the brain, not just language, but emotion, vision, memory, and empathy. When you tell a story, the listener is no longer just listening. They're imagining, they're feeling, they're with you. This makes your message unforgettable and impossible to ignore. When to use story hooks. At the beginning of a presentation, start with a 20-second personal story that ties into your topic. In a one-on-one conversation, use a small experience from your life to explain a bigger idea. On social media or YouTube, begin your video with a real moment, not a headline. In teaching or training, every concept becomes easier when there's a story behind it. How to master this technique? Think of 5 small stories from your life: a mistake, a moment of courage, an emotional day, a failure, a funny experience. Practice telling them in 20 to 30 seconds, just the essence. Then connect them to a lesson, a product, an idea, or a message. Over time, your brain will naturally start thinking in stories. And that's when your communication becomes 10 times more powerful. Everyone talks, but very few move people. If you want to lead, inspire, sell, teach, or connect, you must learn how to tell stories. Because stories are not just words, they are windows, they are mirrors, they are bridges. And the one who masters stories masters attention, masters influence, masters human connection. 4. Energy matching. Have you ever met someone who was too loud, too excited, or too flat, and it made you instantly uncomfortable? It's not that they were a bad person, they just didn't match your energy. In communication, energy is everything. It's not just what you say, but how your tone, pace, volume, and body language feel to the other person. That feeling decides whether they trust you or not, whether they feel connected or disconnected, whether they listen or walk away. And here's the technique that advanced communicators use without even realizing it: energy matching. It's the ability to observe the other person's energy and adjust your own energy to mirror theirs, especially at the beginning of a conversation. It doesn't mean becoming fake. It means becoming attuned. It means being emotionally intelligent. Because here's the truth: people trust people who feel like them. Not like a robot, not like a performer, like them. Let's say you walk into a room for an interview. You're full of energy, confident, smiling, but the interviewer is calm, slow speaking, controlled. If you walk in loud, fast talking, and overly enthusiastic, they might see you as immature or too much. But if you match their energy calm, thoughtful, composed, they will feel you're like them. Now, what if you're giving a motivational talk to students who are excited, playful, and high energy? If you start too soft, too serious, too slow, they'll tune out. But if you start with high energy, storytelling, and laughter, they'll engage immediately. It's all about matching the rhythm of the room, then leading it forward. Our brains are wired for mirroring. When someone moves like us, talks like us, or feels like us, we see them as familiar and safe. It's a survival instinct, and great communicators use it to create instant connection without saying a word. When you match someone's energy, they feel understood, they feel respected, they open up, they follow your lead. And once trust is built, you can slowly shift the energy to wherever you want it to go. In conversations, friend is sad, speak slower, softer, and sit quietly before talking. Friend is excited, be expressive, open your body language, raise your tone slightly. In sales or business, client is analytical and quiet, speak in facts, keep a calm tone. Client is expressive and energetic, use visual words. Move your hands, raise your volume a bit. In dating or socializing, you're at a quiet cafe with someone thoughtful, don't shout stories. Lean in and lower your tone. You're at a party with someone playful, match their fun, quick, high energy vibe. In teaching or public speaking, if the audience is cold, don't force energy on them. Start where they are, use gentle humor, then slowly build energy. How to practice energy matching. Observe. Before speaking, Look at the person's face, body, and voice. Match. Speak with the same volume, tone, and pace for the first few lines. Lead. Once connection is built, shift the energy to your natural rhythm. Reflect. After the talk, ask, did I feel aligned or did I push too hard? Over time, this becomes natural. You become a master of emotional timing. Energy is the language behind the words. When you understand it, when you use it, when you respect it, people won't just hear your words, they'll feel them. This is what great leaders, therapists, speakers, and friends do. They don't force their energy onto others. They match, then guide. Do this, and you'll never be too much or too little for anyone. You'll always be just right because you'll become what the moment needs. And that is the highest level of communication. 5. The callback technique. Here's a secret no one tells you. The most powerful person in a conversation is the one who remembers, because most people forget. They forget what you said yesterday. They forget the story you told last week. They forget your goals, your struggles, your opinions. But the few people who remember, who bring your words back later, who show you I was listening, I cared, those people become unforgettable. That's the callback technique. It's when you intentionally bring back something the other person said earlier in a later part of the conversation, or even in a completely different conversation. It could be a word or phrase they used, a story they told, a feeling they shared, a joke they made, a goal they mentioned. When you reference it back, it creates a moment of magic. They smile, they feel seen, they feel, wow, you actually listened. Example, you meet a coworker on Monday. They casually say, I've been trying to wake up earlier, but I'm failing badly. You don't give advice, you just smile. On Friday, you're walking together and you say, by the way, how's the early morning mission going? Boom. They feel noticed. They laugh. They open up. You didn't do anything special except remember. In a job interview, early in the interview, they say, we've been focused a lot on improving team culture recently. Near the end, you say, since team culture is important to you, I'd love to share some ways I've helped build team trust in my last role. This shows you listened, understood, and adapted. It's impressive without trying to impress, because in a fast world, everyone feels forgotten. The callback technique breaks that pattern. It says, I was really here with you. It says, what you said mattered to me. That kind of respect builds trust, loyalty, emotional safety, deeper connection. Whether in business, friendship, leadership, or love, this is how you rise. Train your memory. After every meeting, write down 1, 2 things the person said. Use their exact words. Bring it back later naturally. Last time you mentioned you were struggling with focus. How's that going now? Use it everywhere. In presentations, bring back a joke or phrase for closure. In sales and interviews, reference the client's or employer's goals using their language. In relationships, remember the tiny things. Partner says, last week, I've been craving street-style tacos all week. 2 weeks later, you surprise them with tacos and say, I remembered someone was having a taco dream lately. This small gesture feels like love because it is. Love is remembering. Connection is remembering. The best communicators don't talk the most. They listen the best. They hold what others throw away. And then, when the moment is right, they bring it back like a gift. Do this, and people will feel more connected to you in one conversation than they feel with others after months. Because when you remember someone's words, they remember you. A person's name is the most powerful sound in the world to them. Think about it. Since the day we were born, our name has been used to comfort us, to discipline us, to love us, to recognize us, to define us. Our name is more than a label. It's our identity, our self-worth, our ego, our presence. And when someone uses it with care, warmth, and authenticity, we feel seen, we feel respected, we feel connected. That's why this technique works so powerfully, even though it sounds so simple. It's the intentional use of a person's name during conversations in a way that feels genuine, creates attention, builds trust, and establishes deeper emotional connection. It's not about using someone's name too much. It's about using it right at the right moment, in the right tone. Because used wrong, it sounds like manipulation. Used right, it feels like magic. When someone says your name, your brain pays extra attention. Your emotions feel personally involved. Your subconscious feels, this is about me. Your dopamine level rises just like when you hear a compliment. That's why, even in a crowded room, you immediately turn your head when someone says your name. It cuts through the noise. Names are anchors. They create emotional presence. They pull people into the moment. In business, imagine you're buying a car. You say, I'm worried about the fuel economy. The salesperson says, I understand, but I think this car will surprise you. Now compare that to, I understand, Tom, but I think this car will really surprise you. Even saying your name once changes everything. It feels more personal, more respectful, more engaging. In relationships, you're texting your partner. Instead of saying, I miss you, say, I miss you, Emily. It hits deeper. It's not just, I miss someone, it's, I miss you as you are. It's not poetry, it's emotional precision. In leadership or teaching, you're running a meeting or giving a presentation. You could say, does anyone have any ideas? Or you could say, Ali, what's your take on this? Even if Ali doesn't have a ready answer, he feels respected because you trusted him, not just someone randomly. And others notice it too. 7. Don't just say thank you, say why. Everyone says thank you. It's polite, it's short, it's common. But here's the problem. It often feels empty. It's automatic. It's quick. It doesn't carry emotion or meaning. But when you take just 5 more seconds to say why you're thankful, you don't just show gratitude. You show depth, awareness, and emotional intelligence. This is what great communicators do. When you explain why you're thankful, it makes your words feel real. It tells the person they're valued for something meaningful. It shows that you notice their effort, not just the result. In other words, it makes people feel seen and respected. In friendship, instead of, thanks for being there, say, thank you for listening to me yesterday. I was feeling overwhelmed, and your calmness gave me the peace I really needed. Now that's unforgettable. In workplaces, instead of, thanks for your help, say, thank you for handling the client call today. Your confidence made the whole team feel secure. This builds trust, loyalty, and motivation, especially if you're a leader. In romantic relationships, instead of, thanks for cooking, say, thank you for making dinner tonight. I know you were tired, and it made me feel really cared for. That's not just gratitude, that's connection. In teaching, mentorship, or collaboration. Instead of, thanks for the advice, say, thank you for that advice on structuring my speech. Your words help me speak with so much more clarity and confidence. This builds stronger, more human relationships. How to use this in your life. The next time someone does something kind, stop and ask, "Why did that matter to me?" Use their name if appropriate. Say your thank you out loud, or send it as a message, or even in writing. What it creates. Emotional memory, they'll remember your words. Deeper trust, you become someone who doesn't take people for granted. Positive habit, you train yourself to notice value in others. Increased influence, people want to help you again. Better communication. Your compliments stop being generic and start being real. Thank you is good, but thank you because is unforgettable. It tells someone you matter. Your effort mattered. Your kindness didn't go unnoticed. And the truth is, most people don't hear that enough. When you start adding reasons to your gratitude, you don't just become a better communicator, you become someone others feel safe with. And that is one of the highest levels of human influence. 8. The humor switch. Let's be honest. Most people are afraid to speak not because they don't have words, but because they fear judgment, awkwardness, or making a mistake. And most conversations, especially serious ones, are full of tension, awkward silences, power dynamics, social anxiety, emotional stress, overthinking everything. But there is one tool that instantly cuts through all of that. It brings oxygen into a dying conversation. It melts resistance. It makes people breathe, laugh, connect, and open up. That tool is called the humor switch. It's the ability to drop a light, well timed moment of humor into a conversation, not to make people laugh like a comedian, but to make them relax like a friend. It's not about being funny, it's about being human. It's about recognizing when the moment is getting too heavy, too serious, or too robotic, and gently flipping the energy. It builds trust. When people laugh, they let their guard down. It shows confidence. Only relaxed people can joke during pressure. It creates emotional safety. The room feels more open and forgiving. It makes you memorable. People remember how you made them feel. It improves listening. Laughter resets the brain's attention clock. In short, humor makes you feel real. And being real is what makes you powerful. Don't try to be funny, try to be light, natural. Observe comedians, not their jokes, but their timing and tone. Prepare 3 to 4 safe, smart, situation based one liners you can use. Use humor when there's silence, the other person is tense, you're introducing a difficult topic, you want to show confidence without arrogance. Avoid these. Sarcasm often misunderstood. Jokes about others can feel like attacks. Dark humor, not everyone gets it. Too many jokes, you'll lose respect if you become a clown. This is a humor switch, not a stand up comedy routine. Use it with timing, respect, and warmth. When you make someone smile during a stressful moment, they never forget it because you gave them something rare. Not just your words, not just your knowledge, but your comfort and your humanity. The humor switch isn't about being clever. It's about being safe, warm, real when people need it most. Master this, and you'll never be forgotten in a room again. 9. The broken record technique. Stay calm, stay clear, repeat your truth until they hear it. Have you ever had to say no, but people kept pushing? Have you ever tried to explain yourself, but they interrupted again and again? Have you ever been in a situation where no one seemed to respect your boundary? Here's what most people do. They get emotional, they get louder, they give in, or they walk away frustrated. But the best communicators do something different. They use the broken record technique. It's a calm, controlled method of repeating your key message word for word over and over again, no matter how many times someone tries to argue, interrupt, or change the topic. It's called broken record because you sound like a song repeating the same line. But instead of being annoying, it becomes powerful. Because in difficult conversations, consistency beats cleverness. Saying no politely but firmly, "Friend, come on, just skip the gym today and hang out." You, "I've made a commitment to my health and I'm keeping it." Friend, "But it's just one day." You, "I've made a commitment to my health and I'm keeping it." Friend, "Don't be so serious." You, "I've made a commitment to my health and I'm keeping it." Eventually, they stop. Not because you argued harder, but because you stood firm with calm repetition. In a workplace conflict, boss, "Can you stay late again today?" You, "I'm not available after 6 today." Boss, "It's just for this one client." You, "I'm not available after 6 today." Boss, "We really need this." You, "I understand, but I'm not available after 6 today." Now you've set a professional boundary with peace, not panic. Why it works? It avoids escalation. You're not shouting, you're repeating. It signals control you don't lose emotional balance. It keeps the message clear you're not dragged into side arguments. It commands respect. People realize you're serious. This is the quiet power of assertiveness. Before the conversation, decide your key sentence. It should be short, clear, and calm. Examples: "I don't feel comfortable doing that." "I need more time to think." "Let's continue this conversation when we're both calm." "That's not something I agree with." Practice saying it with a neutral tone, no anger, no weakness, just clarity. When challenged, repeat the same sentence. Don't add emotion. After 3 to 4 repetitions, pause. Look them in the eye. Stay silent. Let your calmness do the work. You don't need to be louder. You don't need to explain everything. You just need to hold your line with dignity and strength. The world respects the calm voice that doesn't shake, the message that doesn't change, the person who says, "This is my truth. I don't need to convince you. I just need to stand in it." That's what the broken record technique gives you: not drama, not chaos, but power through repetition. 10. Use the other person's vocabulary. Let me tell you the truth. Most people don't listen to your words. They listen to what these words feel like to them. And here's the problem: even if you're saying something helpful, smart, or kind, if your words don't match their world, they won't trust you. They won't feel like you get it. They'll feel like you're speaking a different language, even if you're speaking English. That's why the most advanced communicators use this powerful technique. They mirror the other person's vocabulary. They don't use the words they prefer, they use the words you prefer. And that makes all the difference. It's the ability to notice how the other person speaks, the exact words they use, then mirror back those same words or close versions during your response or follow up. When you use someone's vocabulary, they feel heard. They feel seen. They feel like you're one of them. They trust you more often without realizing why. Imagine this: your manager says, "I want this campaign to feel clean, bold, and fearless. No clutter, no confusion." Now, during your presentation, you say, "So, I've kept the layout clean, the colors bold, and the messaging fearless, just like you mentioned." Boom. You've just mirrored their vocabulary. And now they feel respected, understood, and aligned with you. If you had said, "So, I designed it to be sharp and strong," they might understand it, but it wouldn't hit their brain the same way because you changed the words. People don't just communicate with words, they communicate with symbols, emotions, culture, and thinking styles, and their vocabulary is a window into that. When you speak using their words, you are matching their mindset, reflecting their priorities, and creating subconscious comfort. In psychology, this is called verbal mirroring. It's often used by FBI negotiators, sales professionals, therapists, and top influencers. It's powerful because it creates belonging. Examples: your partner says, "I just want peace. I don't like drama. I like when things are calm." Later, you say, "I want to protect that peace for you. I want things between us to stay calm, like you said." Now, it's not just love, it's love in their language. And that is much stronger than generic love. Client says, "I'm looking for something that's low maintenance. I don't want to constantly babysit the software." Later during your pitch, you say, "This system is designed to be low maintenance. It runs on autopilot, so no babysitting needed." The moment you say no babysitting, they smile because that was their word, not yours. And you just told them, "I was listening." Listen carefully to how people describe their experiences, emotions, or needs. Do they say, "I feel overwhelmed," "I'm drowning," or "it's too much"? Each version gives you clues about their thinking style. When you respond, try to mirror their main words. If they say exhausted, don't say tired. Say exhausted. If they say pumped, don't say excited. Say pumped. If they say locked in, don't say focused. Say locked in. Use their words again later, especially when giving feedback, expressing care, explaining something, or reminding them of a goal. In interviews, use the company's language to show culture fit. In dating, use emotional vocabulary your partner understands. In friendships, reflect back their emotional phrases for deeper connection. In customer service, speak like your customer, not like a script. In English learning, when someone uses a word, reuse it in your reply to show alignment and practice. This is not copying, it's adapting. Use sparingly. Don't mirror every word or you'll sound unnatural. If they use incorrect English, you can still mirror tone or feeling without repeating grammar mistakes. Don't force it. Choose words that feel true to you but familiar to them. The best communicators are not the ones who speak the most, they are the ones who speak in your language. Because when someone hears their own vocabulary coming back to them, they don't just feel heard, they feel like, "This person is just like me." And that is how you create instant trust. 11th, latest news for conversation. Let's be honest. Small talk is awkward. Most people hate it. They don't know what to say. They end up asking the same boring questions. How's the weather? What do you do? Been busy lately? Nice day, right? And the conversation dies before it starts. But smart communicators have a secret weapon. They use the latest news, trends, or viral moments as entry points for real conversation. This is called the latest news for conversation technique, and it's one of the most practical, evergreen, and useful strategies in the world. Here's the truth. People love to talk about things they're already thinking about, and nothing gets attention like what's happening now. It's the art of bringing a recent event, pop culture moment, social trend, or news update into your conversation not to debate or gossip, but to start a real, interesting human conversation that makes you sound informed, modern, and engaging. It creates instant connection. "Oh, yeah, I saw that too." It bypasses awkwardness, you're not trying to think of something to say. It shows awareness, you're not stuck in your own bubble. It makes you relevant people want to talk to those who know what's happening. It reveals values, reactions to news, open the door to deeper topics. Spend 5 minutes a day skimming news headlines or trending topics. Pick 2 to 3 stories you find interesting or useful. Think, what human question can I ask around this? Use that as a soft intro when you meet someone instead of, so, what do you do? Try, have you seen how AI is changing hiring these days? Makes me wonder how interviews will look in 5 years. You'll be shocked how many people lean in and say, oh, yeah, I saw that. Wow, I didn't hear about that. Tell me more. Yeah, and here's what I think. And that's it. You've started a real connection. Tips: never use news to brag or act like a know it all. Avoid sensitive or controversial topics unless you know the person well. Ask open ended questions, not just facts. Focus on relatable angles, not just headlines. Keep it conversational, not preachy or one sided. The world is moving fast, and so are people's attention spans. If you want to stay relevant, if you want to walk into any room and connect instantly, if you want to avoid awkward silences and forgettable small talk, learn to use what's happening today to create connection right now. Because communication is not just about words, it's about staying awake, staying aware, and bringing the world into the conversation so that talking to you just feels real. 12th, strategic pauses. Silence is not empty, it's full of power. Use it to speak without words. When was the last time someone paused before answering you? Really paused? Not because they were lost, but because they were choosing their words, letting something they said sink in, or holding space so you could feel the moment. You see, we live in a world where people are in a rush to speak. We interrupt. We fill every silence with noise. We talk over each other, afraid to be misunderstood or forgotten. But the greatest communicators know something the rest of the world forgets. Sometimes saying nothing speaks louder than anything. That's the power of the strategic pause. A strategic pause is when you intentionally stop speaking, not because you don't know what to say, but because you want to add weight to your words. Build suspense, give space for emotion. Force the listener to focus. Show confidence through control. Let your words echo. A pause is like a highlighter in sound form. It tells the listener, this matters. Slow down. Feel it. Pauses create attention. Silence grabs the listener's brain. It makes people lean in. In a noisy world, stillness is magnetic. Pauses show confidence. When you're not rushing to speak, you appear calm, powerful, and thoughtful. Weak speakers fear silence. Strong speakers use it as a tool. Pauses make emotion visible. When you pause after an emotional sentence, the listener feels it more. You're not just saying words, you're creating moments. Pauses give space to think. In sales, in negotiation, in coaching, a pause gives the other person time to process. It shows you're listening and that this is not a performance, it's a real connection. Let's say you're telling a powerful story. You say, he looked at me after everything that happened and said, you were right. If you rush that, it means nothing. But if you pause before and after, the audience's heart opens. They feel the power of the moment, like they're there with you. In a job interview, they ask, why do you want this role? You pause, you breathe. Then you say, because I don't just want to work. I want to build something that matters. That pause before build turns your answer into a statement, not just a reply. In a difficult conversation, you're with someone who's hurt you. You say, I'm not here to blame you, but I need you to know that moment broke something in me. The pause between those sentences is what delivers the pain, the truth, and the humanity of what you're saying. Words can touch the mind, but silence reaches the soul. In presentations and speeches, in interviews or negotiations, in arguments or emotional talks, in romantic conversations, when telling stories, when giving advice, even in daily English conversations, a pause helps you sound clearer, calmer, and more confident. Don't pause too long, or you'll lose the listener. Don't make it dramatic, just authentic. Don't explain your pause, let it speak for itself. Don't fear silence. The most powerful rooms are often the quietest ones. You will be tempted to fill the silence. Don't let it breathe. Because in a world that's always yelling to be heard, the person who can pause, who can say something powerful, and then wait, that person is the one who is truly heard. Master the pause, and people won't just remember what you said, they'll remember how it made them feel. And that is real power. Now you've learned 12 of the most advanced communication techniques in the world. Not just tips, not just tricks, but tools that can change how you talk, how you connect, and how far you go. Here's the truth. You don't need to speak louder. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need to be the funniest, smartest, or most experienced person in the room. You just need to understand how communication really works. And today, you've taken that step. But this is only the beginning. If this video helped you, if something inside you clicked, if you felt like, I wish someone taught me this earlier, then this is the space you need to be in. Because this channel is here for you, for your voice, your confidence, your English, your growth. So don't just watch and walk away. Subscribe now and give yourself access to more videos that will train your mind, upgrade your skills, and help you speak in a way that changes your life. Because you don't just need to speak, you need to speak in a way the world never forgets. Subscribe, practice, transform. This is your moment, and your voice deserves to be heard.